Hey, what's up, guys? It's Joey Ryan coming to you live from Piazzas in Colorado. We're in Aurora, Colorado, and Piazzas is a brand new place. And I wanted to just test this out and come live today and give you guys a glimpse of a junior player. And so I've been wanting to do a live interview, and I've been wanting to have a junior player for a while now, and I've been able to secure that today. So today we have with us Cash Lance. How you doing, Cash?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Awesome. So Cash, tell me. I want to get to know a little more about you. I just met you here 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and I was pretty impressed with you. So tell us, how old are you?
I'm 17 years old.
Awesome. And so are you still in school?
Yeah, I'm a senior in high school.
Yeah, up here in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And what school?
Centaurus.
Let's make you famous at school.
Let's not.
Let's not. No.
Let's not do that.
Awesome. Well, I start with all my interviews asking people what got them involved in pool. So go ahead and share that.
So I was skating with a bunch of my friends one day, and we were kind of bored, so we decided to go to an arcade in Louisville, Colorado, called Tilt, and we just kind of hung out and played a little bit of pool, and as soon as I hit a few balls, I kind of fell in love with the game and asked my dad if he would teach me how to play, and then haven't really looked back.
And so that was just a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, that was just 2 years ago. I was 15 at the time.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that you met Corey Dole the other day and might have
Yeah.
hit some balls with him. What do you guys have in common?
We kind of have the same story. He was a skater when he was a kid, and then he went to an arcade and hit a few balls, and kind of the same story. Fell in love with the game, and look where he's at.
Yeah. So in terms of your favorite players and kind of people you look up to, there's probably some people in Colorado that you kind of look to, but then also like some of the top players. Who would those be?
In Colorado, I would have to say Adam King. I know he's your rival.
Arch nemesis.
Arch
Adam
nemesis.
King.
Adam Cisneros, Tony Piazza, of course. The list goes on and on. There's many of them. But as for like top professionals, I'd have to say Alex Paguline is one of them. Fedor Gorst, Danny Olson. There's many of them.
Yeah, so we're actually here at Piazzas in Aurora because of the Danny Olson, Chris Robinson match. And so you've been sweating that for a few days. You
Yeah.
kind of remind me of, I played a lot of sports when I was younger, and those kids that we called gym rats, right? They were in there as soon as it opened, and then, they were there until the end of practice, and then you just kept shooting, kept shooting baskets. And so what has been your impression of this match?
Danny has played excellent, I think. And Chris has had some really, unfortunate things happen to him. But there have been a few times he's like rattled a ball or something, and Danny's just punished him. So this is the third day, and we'll see what happens. And Danny's my teammate, so of course I'm rooting for him. But Chris is also a really cool guy, so I'd like to see him, make a comeback and have it be a little closer than what it is right now.
Yes, you mentioned Danny being a teammate. You're part of Havoc, and I want to talk to you about Havoc and Chad Shoulders and kind of what you guys are doing. But I'm also really curious, like when you kind of knew, you went to the arcade, you hit some balls, but when did you know that you were really going to be decent at this game?
I would have to say it was like the first big tournament that I played in, down in New Orleans. That was probably the time that I knew.
What event was that?
It was the Napa Super Shooters Nationals, or I'm not exactly sure the whole name of it. It's pretty long, but it was the national event for the Napa League, and I did extremely well in it, much better than I thought.
So take us through that event. How old were you, and where did you place? Did you have any key matches in there?
So I was 16. I had been playing for just under a year. um, and I won first in the 8 ball out of 151 players, first in the juniors, and second in the 10 ball. And yeah, I mean, it was a crazy experience because you know, I was doing really well in the 10 ball on the 9-foot tables, which I hadn't played on yet in my life. So that was pretty crazy. And then that like
Wait, say that again.
huh?
Say that again.
Uh,
I didn't mean to startle you, but did
No,
you
you're
just
good.
say that was the first time you ever played on
yeah,
those tables?
yeah, on the 9 foots. I hadn't played on them before.
No
So
kidding.
it was weird going from the 9 foots to the 7 foots. So I'd practice on the 10 foot that they had in between matches, just to kind of be able to like not be so intimidated by the 9 foot. You know?
Wow, man, that's pretty impressive. So
Yeah.
your first big event, your first time playing on 9-footers, and you had that much success down there.
Yeah,
Did you have any really tough matches or?
absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of the 10 ball ones were really tough for me to get through, and the one that I remember the most is the final for that side tournament, and it went till I think 4:30 in the morning, and I was just totally exhausted
Wow.
from playing all day, and then I had to be back the next day for the 8 ball championship at like 8:30. So I was running pretty low on the fumes. So
Well, welcome to life as a pool player.
yeah,
If I had a nickel for every time we thought a tournament would be over by 2 in the morning and we were there till 4 in the morning, I might have like, I don't know, $18.75.
Right.
But so you picked me up and you gave me a ride this morning to the venue, and I appreciate that. But one thing I kind of struck me is I asked you to pick me up at 9:45, and I called you at 9:20 because I hadn't heard anything. And I asked you, hey, how's it going? And you're like, oh, I'm actually going to be early. And it made me think, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know if it was a one-hit wonder one type of thing, but it seemed like, you know, it was important to you to participate in this interview, to live up to your commitments. How do you feel about that? Like seeing the way sometimes pool players, you know, maybe aren't as disciplined. Is that a big part of your preparation?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I'm extremely humbled just to be a part of this and have the opportunity to be on the podcast. So I was really excited to get it going, and you know, I'm a man of my word. So if I say something, then I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So I noticed the first day that I met you that you were in here all day long, and your dad was right here with you. And so you're a junior player. You're 17 now. Talk to me about the importance of your father and what he's meant to you on this journey and kind of supporting you.
He's been insanely supportive and helpful. Without him, I wouldn't be able to do it. And my mother too. I mean, she doesn't really come to the tournaments as much, so people don't see her. But she's been very supportive too. And you know, I'm just extremely grateful for the family that I have and all the opportunities that I've had to play. Because without them, I wouldn't be able to.
And so I'm a dad, and you know, I remember when I was your age and I liked playing pool, and my dad told me, well, you know, you got to keep it in perspective. And in some ways I thank him for that, because I was able to go and get a degree and have a career and have pool as a hobby.
Right.
But in other ways, I kind of wish that maybe he would have said, go after your dream, you know? So is your dad, what side of it is your dad on? Is he kind of straddling the fence, or is he like, hey, just go for this?
He is definitely just go for it. If you want to do it, go all out. Where my mom is kind of like, you know, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But also, you have to graduate, you know. And I want you to like have a backup plan. So it's good to have both, for sure.
So I'm really curious what you do when you're not playing pool, because I know at your age, when you get into something, you know, you mentioned skateboarding and now pool, I'm sure it monopolizes a lot of your time, but I know you have other interests. I got in the car today and you actually handed me this pen that you made, And I thought that was super
Yeah.
cool. It's not going to do it justice on the camera. It's got this really nice wood grain to it, like maple. It's beautiful. So
Yeah.
tell me, obviously you're into that type of thing. What other things are you into?
So I kind of want to touch on that. I started making pens recently because it's a funny story actually. I bought a wood lathe on accident. I wanted to buy a lathe that I could work on my cues with, so I could replace tips and work on anything I needed to. And I did not do research at all. Just went out and bought a lathe and then realized that it was the wrong one and figured I'd make the most out of it. So I've been making pens and like cups and stuff and just trying to, make the most out of that.
Well, that's super cool. And when you do start making cues, I'd like one of those too. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know about that. That's a whole other thing.
What other things do you like to do when you're not playing pool?
I don't know. I stick to pool, skateboarding, and woodworking a lot of the times. I mean, that's really, honestly, that's all I do, as well as school, of course. So, I mean, those things take up the majority of my time. Wednesdays I stay home with my family, so.
That's cool. So tell us about meeting Chad Shoulders for the first time and really how you got involved with Chad. Like, what was that all about?
Okay. Well, I was originally playing at a little bar, kind of a dive bar in Lafayette called Dillinger's. And I would play there with my dad, and some of the people there said, your son's got potential. He should go to Zeusters and see if he can learn a few things. And so we started going down there. I played on a league, and then somebody introduced me to, or didn't really introduce us, but pointed out Chad and was like, he's really good. You might want to get a lesson from him. So my dad took me over there, and we talked for a little bit. And Chad tried extremely hard to talk me out of being a pool player.
I hear he's still trying to talk you out of it.
He's still trying to talk me out of it. For like 45 minutes, he was like, you don't want to do this. But if you do, you have to commit. So from that moment, I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to get lessons from him, I got to put in work and be on the practice table a lot and, just not disappoint,
So how do you interpret that in terms of, him trying to discourage you from playing pool? What do you think that's all about?
I think he just wanted what's best for me. I think he was just like, this kid should go and get a degree and get a real job, But clearly that wasn't going to happen, so.
Well, you are getting your high school diploma, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
And you're at the right age right now, I think, to really go after this. And the fact that you've progressed so far in a short period of time kind of tells me, hey, this might be it. You might push for 3-4 years here and kind of escalate to some pretty high, lofty heights here.
Yeah.
And so the problem is once you get to be 28, 29, 35, and you have kids and commitments and things like that, you really can't do this. So now is the time, I think, for you to just dive into this and go all in. So is that your plan? Are you going to start going to juniors events and, traveling around and trying to get as much exposure as possible, experience?
Yeah, for sure. As soon as I graduate high school, I'm going all out. But I just want to be sure to make sure that happens first, and do well in that department. But as soon as that's over, I'm going to be all over the place, getting as much experience as I can, learning from as many people as I can, and we'll see how it goes.
Do you have any, have you seen, so I've been playing pool for 42 years, and I've seen quite a bit. So I'm curious, I'll put you on the spot here a little bit, if you've seen any crazy stories or, anything that's happened when you've been out there playing. I know here in Colorado, you come into a pool room and, Kiko will be yelling at ATM and be yelling at Mark Haddad, and, it's just a lot of barking going on. I'm just curious, have you seen anything kind of funny or interesting?
Yeah, there have been a few things. uh, One time I was in Zeusters playing the Saturday night tournament, and I was in the middle of my match with a good, really good local player named Jonas. Um,
I know Jonas
Yeah.
Martinez.
I'm not sure his last
He's a
name.
good player.
Yeah. Um, it was like I was doing really well against him, and I've only beaten him once. It was kind of a struggle to beat him, but so I was really focusing. I had my earbuds in, so I wasn't paying attention to what was going on around me. And then eventually I heard like so much noise that I like had to look up and see what was going on. And like in the corner of the like room where we were at, there was like 30 people all in like a dog pile.
What?
Yeah, because
Oh,
like
man.
these, I think 4 people, 2 ladies and 2 men, got in a fight, and like these chicks were like grabbing pool balls and trying to throw
Oh,
them,
yeah.
and people were going crazy. And at the time, it was I think it was because of the early last call at 10 o'clock, so everybody just bought a ton of drinks, you know, and they just drank them all and got a little way too tipsy.
Yeah.
And then things just escalated like crazy, and yeah, that was one of them.
Well, that won't be the last one that you see.
I'm sure.
Uh,
I'm sure.
When I was, I guess it was about 15 years ago or so. I grew up in Maryland, and I was at the Green Room in Dundalk, Maryland.
Okay.
Pretty popular place, big place. A lot of pool players play there, and big tournament going on. And I'm playing Baltimore legend Fred Wanker, and just a great guy. He's since passed, and I miss the guy, but him and I are in a really tight match. And on the table next to us, an argument ensues. And these 2 big guys square off, like 260 pounds each.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and then it's just all of a sudden, one punch, guy goes down. And then this scrawny little 120-pound guy jumps over the table and starts counting him out. 1, 2, 3. And so when he got back up, there was still, arguing and yelling. And
That's
so
hilarious.
everybody took the pool balls and got him off the table because, like you said, pool balls can start
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah.
And the sad part was Fred and I were in like a really serious match, and then we had to like re-rack the balls, and fortunately for me, Fred was running out, which he normally did, so we just kind of, I was a little fortunate there, but that was just one of the stories that I've encountered out there. I'm kind of wondering, is there if you could pick like one professional player that you would model your game after, who would that be?
That's a tough one. I'd have to say probably just one.
Wow. Start
Just
with one.
one?
Let's start
Okay.
with one.
Start with one. Maybe Albin Ocean.
I love Alvin.
Yeah.
What do you like about him?
Just fundamentals are great. His stroke is incredible. Super smart, really knowledgeable. He's just an amazing European player. Not much to say about it other than that.
Yeah. I really like his demeanor around the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
My dad used to tell me that when I got upset playing any sport, like it was a sign of weakness. So, if I'm playing soccer and a guy beats me and I'm like, and I look defeated,
Yeah.
he's like, that gives your opponent more fuel.
Right.
And you look at somebody like Albin Ocean or Ralph Souquet.
Or Danny Olson.
Or Danny
the way
Olson.
he's performed. I mean, these people are very stoic, and one thing that Chad was telling me when I first started getting lessons from him was that when you walk into a room, you shouldn't be able to tell who is winning or losing, and all those players are very great at that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's exactly right. You look at the chair, you have no idea if Ralph is winning 8-2 or losing 8-2. It's the same guy, and I have to think that's a huge advantage for them. And so you mentioned, you brought up Danny Olson again. We're here. If you guys haven't caught it, by the way, Havoc Productions on Facebook. We're live at the venue here, and later today, it'll be 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Danny Olson and Chris Robinson resume, and I want to say it's 70 to. Do you remember score, Cash?
Um,
70 to
70 to
43.
43. I think.
Yeah. So Danny has been really, really impressive, and I got to tell you, I mean, I knew Danny Olson can play. I know Chris Robinson can play. I'm shocked. I'm
Yeah.
really shocked about just how one-sided this match has been. Would you concur?
Yeah, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
The thing about Danny that I've noticed, and he did this when him and Adam Cisneros were playing, it seems like the longer that he plays, the better he gets. I was like kind of keeping tally of the Danny Olson versus Adam Cisneros match. They were playing for a chance in the U.S. Open A-ball, and Danny did not miss a ball in 38 games, which is insane.
38 games.
38 games.
You didn't like fall asleep for a second and miss something?
No.
You're sure about
No,
that?
I'm positive.
Wow.
It's on stream. So, which is just crazy to me. He was playing fantastic.
So how much exposure do you get to Danny being on Team Havoc?
Whenever he's in Colorado, I usually get to practice with him quite a bit, so which is really awesome. It's definitely good for my game.
Has he given you specific tips, or does he kind of stay more hands off?
He's a really good teacher, and he's definitely helped me with my own like body and the way it works. So yeah, he's given me specific tips, but it's like kind of personalized for me,
Yeah, I mean
That
he
makes
has, yeah, because he has that tall, lanky frame.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I kind of want to tease him about it a little bit, because every time I've seen pictures of him, it's always been with this elbow that looks like it's disjointed. It just doesn't look like a normal
Yeah.
pool player, And so I was always like, oh yeah, the weird elbow guy, But man, sensational player, and I've had a chance to interview him in the booth several times. He's very quiet. He doesn't say a whole lot, but the match here over the last couple days, these two decided to referee it themselves, and they're playing for $10,000. What does that say about their character?
Absolutely. It says a lot, for sure. Neither of them are going to try and cheat in any way, shape, or form. If one of them says, oh, I think that was a bad hit, then the other will be like, okay, and they're both just two gentlemen, playing the game, and really good ambassadors of the sport. So,
Is that what you're trying to be?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if I were to open up your case right now, what do you have in there? What are you playing with?
Currently, I have a Q-Tech shaft with a Techno Dud tip on a McDermott butt, and a Dark Horse Q's break and jump cue. But here in like a few weeks, I should be getting some Mike Kirby custom cues. He's doing a sponsorship for me, so that's what I'll be playing with for the foreseeable future.
That's pretty awesome. Are you going to be able to keep that Q-Tech shaft on his
Yeah.
butt?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I
Are you
will.
using the I guess it's the Synergy. Are you using the 12.5, 11.8?
The 12.5.
You like that?
Yeah, I like it. I might want to try the what was it? The 11.4 or something.
I think it was 11. I have an 11.8 and a 12.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to try that, but it's just they're pretty expensive. So
I don't know if you know how lucky you are that you're growing up in an era where you have low deflection shafts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
carbon fiber. Actually, when I was younger, when I was younger, we had the low deflect. Predator was just coming out with the 314s, and I used that for maybe 20 years when it first came out. And then we also had Q-Tech and some others that were making these shafts that look like the carbon fiber today, and we made fun of those people that used
Yeah.
those,
Right.
But you're growing up in a time where if you're using extreme inside English on a ball,
Right.
you hit it true, and it actually works.
Mhm.
Just to share a quick story, I won a Jack Madden custom cue. Guy makes beautiful
Mhm.
cues. He's in Montana. He used to be from Arizona, and I won one, and he provided a maple low deflection shaft with it.
Mhm.
And so I remember going to the table, and I even traded in my Predator. I sold my Predator to use this Jack Madden cue. It was so beautiful. But I put that maple shaft on it, and I tried to hit some balls with inside English, bro. I play all right, but I missed by like 4 inches every shot,
Yeah.
and I was like, no. So I ordered a Q-Tech Synergy for it, and was able to play much better with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been kind of cool. So Mike Kirby custom cues, right? He's
Mhm.
making you.
Yeah.
He's gonna make you a playing cue,
Yeah. And a break and a jump cue. So
bro.
yeah,
That's
they're,
so cool.
they're gonna be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, to be 17 years old and to have the sponsorship with Havoc and the sponsorship with now Mike Kirby,
Mhm.
like, tell us about that. I mean,
Um,
do you realize how lucky you are?
Yeah, it's a blessing for sure. I'm very humbled to be able to call them my sponsors. It's really I feel like I've just been lucky growing up in the place that I am, having Chad in my corner and all these really awesome people just helping me out. So
Well, you seem like a really great kid, and if people are gonna put their product and their name on the line for somebody, it's somebody like you. So I want to commend you for that. I think
thank you.
that's yeah, I think that's awesome. I haven't seen you hit a ball, so you know, I don't know how you play, but I've heard really good things about you. Tell us about your practice regimen because you're 17 now. You still
Mhm.
are finishing school, but you don't do a whole lot else other than make these beautiful pens.
Right.
So tell us about how many hours and what you do when you do your practice sessions.
Um, so I haven't been practicing as much as I should. I'll say that right now, just because I want to get through school, and it's just there's a lot to do with that. And I'm usually pretty exhausted by the end of the day. Uh,
Nothing
but
wrong with that.
um, but when I do practice, I like to practice for about 4 hours, and then maybe take a break, come back for another 2 or 3, and I like shooting a lot of like stop shots, draw shots, follow shots. The Super X drill. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one, and then I like trying going through the center of the table, right, with the 45-degree angle rule. Um,
You know,
Buddy Hall's clock system. I work with that a lot. I try and know exactly where my cue ball is going, and then I'll do a drill where I take 10 balls and I'll line them up like a little spaced out on like the first diamond, right? And then I'll freeze the cue ball to the rail and I'll shoot them in the pockets,
nice.
in the top corner pockets, and I'll just try and work on shooting off the rail. And then once you do those 10, then you move them up a diamond and then up a diamond until like you get to like the middle of the table,
That's pretty cool.
and then bring it back.
So I know that you've had an opportunity here. A lot of people don't realize this, but Colorado, while it's somewhat landlocked, up in Wyoming, there's an incredible series of events that go on up there in a few different towns, and pros come into Wyoming to compete. Corey Deuel, Rodney Morris, Johnny Archer, a lot of top pros, and I understand that you've had the opportunity to work with a number of those professionals and get lessons from them. Tell us a little bit about who you worked with and maybe some things that you picked up from each of them.
For sure, that's I'd say the reason why I'm at where I am today is because I've been lucky to have worked with the people that I had. I've worked with Rodney Morris, Johnny Archer, Corey Deuel, just recently, obviously Danny Olson, who else? John Schmidt, Shane McMinn was awesome, and yeah, I've been very lucky to have worked with all of them.
That's quite a list there. Is there anything that stands out that someone taught you that's really helped you?
Man, there's so much that they've taught me. I don't.
You don't want to reveal.
Yeah.
I just want to know how you got lessons from Rodney Morris and Johnny Archer and didn't laugh the whole time. I mean,
I
what?
did.
Oh, man.
For sure.
Did you see the episode when Rodney came on the podcast?
Yeah. And that's exactly how he is off the table all the time.
He's amazing.
He's a riot.
Yeah,
He's
and
awesome.
and the best was when I don't know if you remember when he goofed on Johnny, and he said my
Yeah.
buddy Raj Hundal was playing Johnny, and he's like, bro, Johnny's picking up lint that doesn't, this on
not
tables
even
it's not even his. That was funny. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a trip.
Yeah, both of them came down to our house for a whole week, and having them both together is just insane.
Oh man,
It is hilarious.
You know what's funny? The players that you named, other than Corey Dole and Shane McMinn, who I would
Mhm.
definitely invite to the podcast and love to have them on, but you mentioned Rodney, Johnny, who else? I forget. One
John
else.
Schmidt.
John Schmidt. Those three guys were three of my most popular episodes from the podcast.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
they're great storytellers, and
Yeah.
it was just, and Johnny's just a legend, right?
Yeah.
Poor Johnny, I don't even think he knew that we were doing a video interview. So
Oh, really?
he's like, yeah, call me on the phone. And so I said, no, Johnny, it's a Zoom interview. So we get it, and then he's in his basement or something, and he's got his propped up on his leg, and I
Yeah.
was like, Johnny, can you lean that on something? He's like, no. but he was great and took the interview on short notice. So, yeah, it must be a great feeling getting to rub elbows with those guys up here, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So, kind of switching directions a little bit, you and I talked on the way here about a challenge that you faced growing up, and something that I could relate to. So, you want to share that with folks?
Yeah, so I have a autoimmune disorder called PANDAS, and while I totally forgot the whole name of it, it's associated with strep. So whenever you get strep as a kid, and if that virus attacks your brain, then you can develop an autoimmune disorder. So that's definitely been a struggle for the earlier part of my years, and then around like 11, 12, 13, 14, it kind of went away. And recently it's been bothering me a little bit, but I think that's just because of the masks.
How does it manifest? What are the
In-
symptoms?
In ticking, so it's kind of like Tourette's, but not like verbal tics where you like say things. They're kind of tics like you blink really hard, or I don't really know how to describe these other ones.
They sound like
yeah.
pretty challenging issues for
Yeah.
someone trying to play pool. Does it ever affect you playing pool?
Usually when I play, I get kind of in a zone where I don't really pay attention to it very much, and it usually doesn't bother me too bad. So
Yeah, and I've talked to a few players, most recently Tony Robles, and it's kind of interesting how many pool players have struggled with health issues or other
Mhm.
things, and he had a issue with his foot where he really only had half a foot. I never knew that. I had known about
Really?
Yeah, I had known Tony Robles for years and watched him play and been a huge fan, and never knew that he basically has half a foot. I think it's his left leg, and it's I'm not making light of it, but he is from New York, and when he walked, he had kind of a hitch to it, and I was like, oh, that must be like a
Yeah.
Northeast bebop, like the way he's walking down the street. I'm from Baltimore, we got a little pep to our step, but no, he had that problem that he had to overcome, and I think in some ways he credits that challenge to him having the determination to get where he's gotten in his pool career, and I'm wondering if you think challenges like that from your childhood are going to help you.
I'm not sure that they'll necessarily help or make things harder. It's just kind of something that I deal with, and I don't.
Yeah.
Not much to say.
Well, what I share with you in the car, I'll tell the audience because it's kind of, I really do. I have faith. I believe that there's a higher power. Believe in God. And I've met so many people doing this podcast where there's just these things that, oh, you have that, I had that, or you had this situation, I had that situation. And, when you told me you had PANDAS,
Yeah.
I got like a chill through my body because just a few months ago, my 5-year-old had this idea to do a backflip on concrete floor and slammed his head into the floor. Okay? And he had a concussion. And in treating that concussion, a couple weeks later, he started doing some weird things and stuff started happening. It just so happens that the doctor we go to is the second best doctor in Arizona for pandas. And he says, I think
Oh,
your son
wow.
has pandas. Yeah. And so, and ironically, my wife goes to the first leading doctor for pandas in Arizona. So we're covered there. But sure enough, they checked his strep levels. His strep was really high.
Yeah.
And they started treating that immediately, and so hopefully we caught that early. But I'm like, man, that's like there was something instantly when I met you that kind of was a
Right.
common bond there that I was like, oh,
Right.
I can relate to this guy. And then you tell me that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I haven't actually met anybody that's had like personal experiences with it besides myself, so
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
So where do we go from here, Cash? You've started having some success. I know you've
Mhm.
competed in some of Chad's amateur events, trying
Yeah.
to get the coins, and you've gotten those or the tokens.
Yeah.
And you've done a good job there. What are some of your shorter term goals?
Um, I really just want to travel and get the seasoning that I need to perform at a higher level. That's basically my number one goal right now is just to compete, and I really like my main thing is just playing well. That's all I really want to do is I just want to play well, if nothing else, but for myself, you know. Um, it's frustrating whenever I'll like miss a ball that I shouldn't. So my like main goal is just to, elevate my game, I suppose.
Yeah, I like that because oftentimes you find players that are results oriented,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't be results oriented.
Right.
You gotta try to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. And if you happen to get lucky and win a game, that doesn't mean you did the right thing. And by the same token, if you lose a game, it doesn't mean you did the wrong thing. You
Right.
could have played the right shot and you just got outplayed.
Right.
So I like that approach.
That's one thing that Rodney Moore has told me, because I was playing in a Saratoga event in Nubbins. Um, those of you that don't know, that's just like a little like monthly tournament they hold. Um, and
In
I went-
Wyoming, right?
yeah, in
Yeah.
Wyoming. And we went. I was playing with this guy, and it was in the finals. And we went hill, and I had an easy out, like the easiest out ever, just a stop shot, and then you make the 8 ball. And I just overstroked it like crazy, left myself frozen in the rail, missed the 8. He won, and I was really frustrated, and I was just having kind of a bad day. And Rodney came up to me, and he was like, you can't be too result oriented. It's all about learning, and just let it go and do better next time, really. So
Yeah, that's right. It's a process, and
Yeah.
you're in the midst of learning from it. How do you handle your emotions? Are you one of those players like I was always one of those players where when I lost, I hated it. And I would get in
Yeah.
the car after the tournament. My dad and I would drive home because he went to a lot of tournaments with me, and he was a pretty good player.
uh-huh.
And, I would be angry, and I'd say, I'm so mad I missed that ball. I would never
Right.
show that to my opponent or anyone at the pool room. But in the car on the way home, I would, and my dad would say, it's just a game. I'm like, no, Dad. That's why I'm going to surpass
No.
you, because it's not just a game. I would go
Yeah.
home, and I would set that shot up 500 times and just shoot it.
Right.
And so I'm kind of wondering, how are you handling your emotions? Because you're progressing so fast. I'm sure there's times where you might have a setback. Take us through that.
It's definitely a struggle sometimes, I've definitely been frustrated, and I've let that show, but I'm trying not to. I'm working on just being a little bit more professional about everything, and not taking it so hard, and just learning from it, and going and practicing like the shot, like you said, set it up a bunch of times, and make it until you can't miss it, So that's what I'm working on doing.
I think Alex actually said that in the podcast episode with me. It's
Mhm.
like, I forget his exact words and I'll butcher it, but it's like, don't shoot the shot. Well, anyway, shoot it until you can't miss it. He
Right,
basically said,
right.
yeah. So just what you said. But I want to share with you a couple things that I think might be of interest to you. A couple friends of mine, people who are doing some big things. I know you've heard of Rahana. He's with On the Wire Creative Media. That's one of the sponsors for Chris Robinson.
Mhm.
And he is also leading the charge with the International Juniors events that they're having. They just had one in, I think, Roanoke, Virginia. And I think they're having another one in Florida coming up soon. So we're going to get you information for that
Okay.
one. And then a buddy of mine, Jake Lawson, who runs Breakout Billiards Apparel, who, by the way, do you have an apparel sponsor?
Not currently, no.
Okay, so
I
maybe
don't
something there.
believe-
So we'll talk to Jake. But Jake is doing also the Billiard Sports Network, and I saw that he released. I want to say he released 6 events this year, and at least 2 of them, maybe 3, I can't remember. At least 2 of them are juniors events, and he's based out of like
Okay.
Maryland, Virginia. So I know it's a flight and getting over there, but it's only a few hours.
Right.
And it might be something really worthwhile to get that seasoning that
Yeah.
you're looking for. So would you be open to
Absolutely.
playing in some of those?
For sure. I'd love to go up to Maryland, actually. One of my really good friends moved up there, so it would be good to visit him and also play in a good tournament. So I would be totally down for that. For
Well, I
sure.
tell you what, if you play in Jake's events, okay,
Okay.
if he's got 2 of them or 3 of them, whatever it is this year, I will cover your entry fee.
No way.
Yeah, I'm
You're
sponsoring
lying.
your entry fee. Yeah, you'll just have to
My
tell
dude.
everybody you talk to out there about Pool
Okay.
Player Podcast. Okay.
Oh,
Will you do that?
absolutely. It's my
Okay.
favorite podcast,
Sweet.
for sure.
So, is there anything else you want people to know about you? Because, a lot of people are going to see your name on here, and they're literally going to see, like, Rodney Morris, John Schmidt, Carl Boyce,
Right.
Cash Lance. They're going to be,
Yeah.
it's
pretty
a little,
crazy.
little
Pretty
surreal. So,
crazy.
tell folks a little bit of, something about you or just anything you want them to know about you.
I'm not sure. I just I don't really.
I'm not changing the screen.
You're not.
No,
It's
you
just
got to come up with
focused on
something.
me.
You got to come up with something,
I
bro.
don't really know what to what to add, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
You have a girlfriend?
I do not know.
You do not? Ladies, he's single. All right, I'll take the heat off you a
All
little
right,
bit.
thank you.
I'll take the heat off. So, tell me one last time about. I want to talk about Havoc
Okay.
and this blood, sweat, and tears that they have going on. I know Chad. I see Chad here, and Chad's a great guy. He jokes around and says that he has a face for radio. But I look at him, and it looks like he's aged 6 months in like 3 days because he's trying to, do everything. He's got this Danny Olson, Chris Robinson match. He's got Sky Woodward playing Roberto
Right.
Gomez Wednesday and Thursday. He's got Scotch doubles, Scotch triples with Billy, Sky, and Chris Robinson versus Roberto and Danny Olson. It's kind of nuts, like what he's got going on.
Yeah.
But the blood, sweat, and tears with the qualifying on the amateur side of it, is that something you're behind? You believe in that?
Absolutely. I think it's actually a lot of fun too. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of work to be able to move your way up through these tournaments because a lot of them are single elimination. And
A lot of pressure.
it is a lot of pressure. And but I think it's just totally a blast, and I'm behind it 100%, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So I think what Chad's got going on here is gonna be something big.
Yeah, I mean, so I lived here and I knew Chad for a while. I didn't know you when I lived here because you were
Right.
skateboarding somewhere.
Yeah, right.
You were one of those skate punks
Right.
doing something. But I've known Chad for a little while, and I remember the phone conversation where he told me about how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is pretty cool. And I really like the fact that he doesn't apologize that it's a for-profit business, that he's going to earn some money by doing this,
Yeah,
but it's going to inject money into the game.
absolutely.
And this dream of having $1 million tournament is not really a dream anymore. He has the numbers to back that
Mhm.
up. And so as long as he's launching this in various states and getting, these events going, I think he can get there. You think so?
Absolutely. It's for sure going to happen. I think it's just only a matter of time given with the COVID situation. But that's definitely going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure you guys will see me there. I'm working for it, so.
Well, hey, Cash, do you have any big events lined up that you're going to anytime soon?
I'll be at the Scotch doubles versus Scotch triples. Um, I'm hoping to go to the Super Billiards Expo in April.
Oh, you have to do that,
Yeah.
by the way.
I'm hoping to do
I
that.
went there for, I don't know, 20, however long it's been going. I've been going every year, and my family would go. We made it a family affair. So my brother plays pretty good. My dad plays pretty good. And so my dad would play in the seniors in the Open, and my brother and I would play in the Open every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great event, not just pool tournament, but event. So one year I got 5th through 8th. The year Larry Price won it, and there were 1,000 people in the tournament. So I mean, it was
Oh, wow.
pretty good achievement for me. I was super
Yeah,
stoked.
absolutely.
I lost to Bill McCullum from Pittsburgh. If you're listening, Bill, I still owe you one. But he played a good set on me. He beat me in 3 sets, 5-3 that third set. But the thing that's really cool about it, Cash, that I think you'll appreciate
Mm-hmm.
is in between your matches, you can just stroll through probably 100 different booths of different vendors, test new
Right.
products, and really, for a guy like yourself, interact with the industry people, potential
Yeah.
sponsors, things like that. So have you given that some thought?
Yeah, I can't wait to go out there. I think it's gonna be a total blast, and it's been on my bucket list for sure. That and Derby City Classic. I'd like to go to that, but I heard that they're doing it in a casino currently, so I wouldn't even be able to go in, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I interviewed Fedor Gorst,
Mm-hmm.
and in that interview, he revealed that, the year I was allowed to go to Derby, I really enjoyed it and had fun.
Yeah.
But then after that, I couldn't go, and I was like,
Right.
he couldn't go. But then he's so young. I
Right.
think he's 20 or something.
Didn't
so-
he win the world 9-ball championship
Yeah,
that year?
but that was not in a casino.
yeah, but
So-
he couldn't go to the Derby City Classic. I think, I think pool halls should really let juniors in, because without juniors, it's the game doesn't grow. So,
So the counter to that, and again, I'm a dad. I have kids.
right,
So how do I keep my kids from the bad element? So like you're here today at Piazzas, which is a great environment. So
Right.
there's nothing bad going on here right now, but your dad's not here right now. And so how does your dad know if you're 16 or 17 that
right.
you're being taken care of? So I think that's kind of the
Yeah.
balance,
That's a fair point for sure. I'm not.
How does your dad do it? How does he make sure that you're not getting exposed to the bad element?
Well, to a point, I think being exposed is a good thing because you learn not to do it. You see the consequences and the downsides. I've seen personal friends get extremely, drunk and then go drive and, crash. And one of the people that I used to play pool with is now on an oxygen tank. So it definitely teaches you not to go down that route. So to a point, I think it's a good thing to see that, but I can see the opposite side as well. My dad usually just goes with me everywhere, but at Piazzas, he knows that this is a good environment. He knows that it's not a big deal if I'm here on my own, because Piazza will look after me, you'll look after me, and Chad will look after me, so it's you kind of just got to know the kind of environment you're going to be in, and need to know if you need to have a parent or guardian there. So
Yeah, that's the thing I was struck by when you said that when you started with, I think it's kind of a good thing for you to be exposed to it, to know what not to do.
Yeah.
Kind of shows your maturity and how you view things, and really what you're here for.
Right.
You're not here
Yeah.
to sneak beers in.
Oh,
You're
not at
here
all.
to focus, right? And,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
play pool. And this is your training center. This is your gym.
Right,
This is your lab.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, Cash, this has been really fun for me. Thank you for being my
Awesome.
guinea pig for my first live interview. I hope
Yeah.
folks enjoyed it and got to know you a little better, because I think they're going to be hearing big things from you over the years, and
I
so
hope so.
yeah,
I'm gonna keep. All I can do is just keep trying, keep putting in the work, and you know. But yeah, I'd like to just take a second to thank my sponsors if that's cool with you.
absolutely.
So yeah, again, Mike Kirby Custom Cues. He's a wonderful cue maker. I've seen his work. I can't wait to get mine. His stuff is awesome, so go check him out. Obviously, Havoc Productions, Chad Shoulders. He's doing big things for pool. Can't wait to see what he's doing. And we didn't actually get into this, but Greeley Subaru is another one of my sponsors. So if anybody's looking for a Subaru out there, go check them out. They do awesome stuff. And
You know, it's funny. The Subaru. My brother-in-law came to town with the Subaru. He drove from Miami to my house, and he just would go on and on about how the Subaru has the best all-wheel
Yeah.
drive of any
Yeah.
vehicle. And I was like, first of all, my brother-in-law sometimes he talks a little trash. You know,
Yeah.
If he owns a Subaru, it's the best car ever. So I had to check it out. And sure enough, that's what I heard, is that their all-wheel drive is the best that you can
They
get.
are extremely reliable, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Country Truck and Auto as well. I like to give them a shout out. They actually have been adding money to a lot of the Wyoming tournaments and local tournaments. So if anybody's looking for a truck out there, check out Country Truck and Auto in Fort Lupton, Colorado.
That's awesome. You have so many people in your corner right now. Hey, there's
Yeah,
one
it's
thing
great.
I forgot. Chad is planning a match with you.
Oh yeah,
Let's talk about that
yeah.
real quick.
That's gonna
Well,
be
not
a
real
fun
quick,
one.
but go ahead. Yeah, tell
It's
me about
gonna be me and another junior player, Sam. I don't believe we.
I think it's Henderson.
Henderson.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Sam Henderson, and he actually recently won a 8-ball tournament in Wyoming, in
Nice.
Cheyenne. So I'm not sure how he plays, but I think it'll be a good time no matter what. So there's no money being bet. It's just going to be me and him just duking it out on
Just the
on the
junior
table. Yep.
junior challenge
Yep.
match. I love it. That's awesome.
I think I'm going to be going up to his home state and playing on a 7-foot bar box.
What's-
diamond? So
What state? Illinois?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Illinois.
I think so.
Yeah. You don't know.
I-
You just
I
they
don't-
send you and you
yeah,
go. You don't
ex-
even care where.
Honestly, yeah, that's exactly how it is. Like my dad is like basically my manager.
That's awesome.
He just he does all the dates and gets me enrolled in the tournaments, and then I go there and I play my heart out. So that's
I love
That's
that.
what
I
we
love
do.
that. Yeah, and you know, today we've interviewed you today for the podcast, and if you tune in to the Danny Olson, Chris Robinson match today, the conclusion of that, we will be having a phone call with your opponent from that match, and I think his mother.
Really?
Yeah, I think we confirmed that this
Oh,
morning.
You'll have
And-
to get me on commentary. That would
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, and for those of you that are tuning in or not tuning in to the Robinson Olsen match, or maybe you're looking at the score and saying it's not too competitive right now, so I'll just track the score. Just know that we've had guests that have called in each day and talked to us. Johnny Archer called in, other people. So we're doing interviews with the players in between, and we're talking to players, and folks are calling in. We might have a special guest today calling in. Give you a hint, he might be named something that rhymes with Aramy Hones, or
Oh,
yeah, something. Or yeah, and he
I
might
wonder
be
who that could be.
affiliated with the U.S. Haskoni Company or something. Sorry, we're having fun, guys. This has been so far 2 days for me of 14-hour days and probably
Yeah.
3 hours sleep. So we're kind of punch drunk here.
Yeah.
And Cash has been here the whole time watching
Yeah.
all the events. So we've been watching a lot of pool. But so Cash, I can't say enough how impressed I am with you as a young man. And I know from everything I hear, your pool playing abilities, you're rising rapidly. And I just want to say to you, congratulations, and keep up the good work and work hard, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thanks to all the folks that tuned in. And make sure to share this. If you like it, hit the like button, hit up the comments, and do me a favor and subscribe to Pool Player Podcast. I'd really appreciate that. It really helps the channel grow, and we can do big things like these live interviews and things like that. So everybody take care.
Cool.
Say bye.
See ya. I hit the